It was a Wednesday morning in July, the same Wednesday it always comes. Margaret, 74, a retired nurse from Ohio, sat at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee and opened her banking app the way she does every month on payment day. Zero, not late, not pending, zero. The same account she'd had for 12 years. The same address the government had on file since 2014. She hadn't done anything wrong. She hadn't missed a form, hadn't made a mistake. But three changes landed in July 2026 that she didn't know about. And the combination of all three left her staring at an empty balance on a Wednesday morning, wondering what went wrong. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what those three changes are, whether any of them touch your money right now, and the one move for each one that makes sure what happened to Margaret never happens to you. And stay through to change number three, because there's a combination hiding in this month's rules that most people on Medicare are missing completely. And it can save you thousands of dollars before the year is out. Quick word before we go through these. Rules like the ones I'm covering today change every single year, sometimes mid-year without any warning. The SSA doesn't call you. Medicare doesn't mail a plain English summary. And by the time most people find out something changed, the deadline's already passed or the payment's already missed. That's what this channel exists to fix. I track every update, every rule change, every deadline, and I put it in plain English every week so you don't have to dig through government websites to protect your own money. If that's useful to you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now. It takes 3 seconds and it means you won't miss the next one. Now, let's talk about what just changed and what it means for you. Here's what happened to Margaret's payment and why it happened to her and not to most people. In March 2025, the federal government signed an executive order 14,247, directing every federal agency to stop issuing paper checks for benefit payments. The Social Security Administration's target, 0 paper checks by the end of 2026. For most beneficiaries, the transition already happened. Right now, fewer than 1 in 100 Social Security recipients still gets a paper check. But that 1% is real, and it's a specific group. It tends to be the oldest seniors, the ones who set up their payment the same way decades ago and never had reason to change it, the ones who don't bank online, the people who can least afford a missed month, and the cruel part of the system. It doesn't warn you before it stops. Your paper check simply doesn't arrive. No letter, no call, no explanation until you go looking. There are exactly 2 ways to receive your payment electronically, and both are simple. The first is standard direct deposit into any checking or savings account. You can set this up at your bank in person or through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. The second is the Direct Express card, a government-issued prepaid debit card that your benefit loads onto automatically each month. This one was specifically designed for people without a bank account. You use it exactly like a debit card at any store, ATM, or pharmacy. Here's the thing most people miss even if they already have direct deposit. If you changed banks in the last 2 years and didn't update your account information with Social Security, you have a broken link the system won't tell you about until the payment bounces back. A closed account, a changed routing number, these create the exact same empty screen Margaret saw. Your action this week: go to ssa.gov or call 1-800-772-1213. Confirm 2 things: that your payment method is electronic and that the account number and routing number currently on file are still open and active. 5 minutes now, no surprises in July. Now here's the change that has nothing to do with Margaret's story, but it could affect your wallet far more than a single missed payment, and most people on Medicare still don't know it's there. Starting in 2025, federal law put a hard ceiling on what you pay for covered prescription drugs under Medicare Part D in 1 year. For 2026, that ceiling is $2,100. Let me say that again clearly, because I want it to land. Once you spend $2,100 out of pocket on your covered Part D medications in 2026, every covered prescription for the rest of the year costs you nothing. Not a smaller amount, nothing. Here's what that looks like in real life. Take a retired teacher in Florida named Carol, 69, who takes a specialty medication for a joint condition that costs her $380 a month out of pocket. Before this change, that was $4,560 a year. No finish line, no break. Just $380 every single month until December. Under the 2026 ceiling, Carol hits $2,100 sometime around June. From that day forward through the end of December, every bottle costs her $0 at the pharmacy counter. That's over $2,400 back in Carol's pocket without her doing anything differently, without switching plans, without applying for anything. The ceiling is automatic once you hit it. Here's what counts toward the $2,100: your deductible, your copays, and your coinsurance on covered drugs. What doesn't count is your monthly premium that continues regardless. And here's the detail: almost every video about this skips. The ceiling resets to $0 every January 1st. So if you hit $2,100 by June, you start over from $0 in January. If you take an expensive medication and you have any flexibility on timing, that's worth knowing. Your action: call your Part D plan or log into Medicare.gov and ask one question. How much have I spent out of pocket toward my $2,100 cap so far this year? Most plans track this to the dollar and can tell you in under 2 minutes. If you're already within a few $100s of the ceiling, the rest of this year just changed completely. Here's the part I haven't seen anyone explain clearly, and it's the most valuable thing in this video. There is a federal program called Extra Help. Officially, the low-income subsidy run directly through Social Security. It's designed for seniors with limited income and savings who are on Medicare Part D. What it does is lower your drug costs, your monthly premium, your annual deductible, and your copays on every prescription. Here's what most people don't realize. Extra Help doesn't cancel out the $2,100 ceiling we just talked about. It works on top of it before you get there. Think of it this way. The $2,100 ceiling is a finish line. Once you cross it, covered drugs are free. Extra Help is what cuts your costs on the way to that finish line, which means you reach it faster, and then everything after is still free on top of that. A senior who qualifies for Extra Help and hits the $2,100 ceiling by April instead of June has 2 extra months of zero-cost prescriptions. That's real money for someone on a fixed income. Now here's the part that keeps people from applying. They assume they make too much to qualify. They shouldn't assume that. The income limits for Extra Help are more generous than almost anyone expects, and they've been expanded in recent years. Some seniors who were turned down years ago now qualify. Some who never applied because a neighbor told them not to bother are leaving hundreds of dollars a month on the table. The only way to know for certain whether you qualify is to apply, and the application is free. Takes about 15 minutes and tells you immediately whether you're eligible. Here's exactly what qualifying can mean. Your monthly Part D premium can drop to nearly $0. Your annual deductible can disappear. Your copays on covered drugs can fall to $2 or $3 per prescription, sometimes less. All of that before you even reach the $2,100 ceiling, after which everything is still free. Your action: apply for extra help at ssa.gov or call 1 800 77 21213 and ask for the SSA 1020 form. If you're on Medicare Part D and money is tight, this is the most valuable 15 minutes you can spend this week. Let me close with Margaret. Margaret's payment stopped because she had switched banks 18 months ago and never updated her account information with Social Security. The paper check infrastructure was already gone. Her electronic deposit was pointed at a closed account. The system had no way to reach her and no reason to tell her until the money bounced. 15 minutes on the phone fixed it, but she lost 3 weeks of July waiting for a replacement to process while her rent came due. That's what happens when the rule changes and nobody tells you. And that's exactly why knowing these three, your payment method, your prescription ceiling, and the program that works on top of it matters before July, not after. The government didn't send a letter explaining any of this. Nobody called. These rules are real. They're in effect right now. And the only difference between the senior who benefits from them and the one who doesn't is whether someone took the time to explain it. Now you know. Share this with one person over 65 who should know it too. And if there's a change you want me to cover next week, drop it in the comments. I read every one. I'll see you in the next one.